Autistic kids sometimes overreact to simple hearing stimuli. And there is a thing called Tamaya's technique where they retrain the ear with different frequencies and sound to get them less sensitized. And if people do it, don't check the hearing, they don't control the level of sound into the ear, which disturbs me a little bit because, as we just discussed before, one of the reasons for hearing loss is having very loud sounds of extended period of times. So there's some danger, unless that person really is highly trained in your profession, using any kind of a loud stimuli and then coming down in frequency and volume. So there's some concern about that causing a problem down the road. Is that true?
Well, I would even take this back to the beginning of your question. In audiology, that kind of treatment is known as auditory integration therapy. And it is kind of controversial because the evidence that it does any good at all is very anecdotal at best. As a matter of fact, the American Academy...
It's been around for a while. It's nothing new.
I've been hearing about it for at least as long as I've been
30, 40 years I've been told this.
It's not becoming more commonly used as far as I know. Insurance doesn't cover it because it's considered experimental. And as a matter of fact, the American Academy of Audiology and ASHA, the American Speech Language Hearing Association, have both put out position statements stating that this kind of auditory integration therapy or training is experimental, has never been proven to do any good, and they don't stand behind it at all.
I can't find any evidence-based study. Evidence-based study has to be that no one knows who had what done, no one has any financial gain from it, okay, because many times you design a study to prove you're right. That isn't evidence-based. You design a study to see what is right, and people see a study and they make conclusions. Be very careful. Drug companies do it all the time, and people want to make their opinion fact. Will get a study designed to prove their issues are correct. And sometimes parents, I went to this kind of therapy, the kid's better. Forget the fact you might be doing 16 other things to the kid, and you're happy with this therapy, so I'll say this is what made my kid better, not knowing that ABA therapy, whatever else you're doing, something could have helped. We're not sure this could help, so we have to be very careful. We hear people in the news talking about what you just mentioned is a therapy that's questionable at best. And I would imagine if I had a kid that was autistic, I would reach out for anything. I would blame drugs, vaccines, anything I could get my hand on. Doesn't help anybody.
Yeah, and I fear that that might be what's part of what's going on, that parents, feel that they're willing to try anything, that they're willing to pay any amount of money, that they, anything that they hear might be able to benefit their child, and then they hang their hopes on things that, may or may not, in fact, be making a difference.
And I imagine if I had a kid that was autistic, I think I would go to extremes too. But in the end, having a scientific mind, I was still asked the one question: what science-based, evidence-based studies are being done? So I don't waste, in one case I heard, almost $80,000 was asked of a family to go through this for an extended period of time. Some are only $6,000 to $7,000. But the question you should always ask, give me names of people who have successfully done the treatment so I can speak to them. Give me some evidence-based studies so that I know what we're going through has some fruit, some real scientific basis. Is that true?
I agree 100%. And actually, the only consolation that I have right now is that I don't see it getting any more popular. I don't see it...
But it's not around like a week or 10 days. Yeah. It's been around 30, 40 years. Yeah. I would love to find more information. I've been searching. I have been asking. I hear it mentioned like it's fact amongst the little blogs that the autistic people go to. I mean, autistic parents of kids who have a child like that. And I feel bad. But when I even question it, I get hate mail. I'm not trying to say anything bad. I just don't know if it works.
I don't either.
And I'm worried that if someone's untrained, that gives hearing stimuli at a very loud, high frequency, decibels in the 80, 90 range, and then bringing it down, doing techniques like that. Is that good for the kid now and bad later, or bad a whole way across the board? I don't know.
I think that there are a lot of questions about this kind of treatment. I think it's right to question the kind of treatment that doesn't have any evidence-based studies that support it. I know that it's considered experimental and results, good results, anecdotal at best. And any audiologist needs to function by the ethical guidelines of their supporting board, which in our case is the American Academy of Audiology and ASHA. And again, physician statements do not support that kind of testing.